13 years together and still no ring. People are curious about why Bruno Mars and Jessica Caban broke up so quietly. They stopped seeing each other and are no longer together. There have been hints and rumors on social media for months about a painful breakup, and now the singer is finally breaking his silence about it. What did Bruno Mars say, and why is he coming forward now? Come with us as we put together the timeline, find the hidden tension, and figure out why they finally broke up. The story of how Jessica Caban and Bruno Mars got from Harlem to Hollywood. Behind the record-breaking hits, the explosive choreography, and the bright arena lights of a legendary pop career, there was one force that stayed the same through all of its highs and lows. Everyone knows Bruno Mars is the best showman ever. But when the lights went down, he was one half of one of Hollywood's most closely hidden relationships. It wasn't in front of a bunch of paparazzi that they met. Instead, it was in a quiet, unplanned moment at a hotel restaurant on the Lower East Side of New York City. There, they met by chance and hit it off right away, starting a relationship that would quietly last and shape the singer's life for more than 10 years. Even though the singer's fame went through the roof, the couple chose to keep their relationship a secret from everyone. In a field where relationships are often sold for attention, they chose privacy to keep their relationship out of the constant attention of the media. Beside the occasional birthday or family photo, they purposely didn't post anything about each other on social media. People who saw them felt very lucky when they did get to share rare views because of this strict boundary. After they reached a big goal together, she broke her usual silence to share a sweet photo from their first vacation together to celebrate their 10th wedding anniversary. Before becoming the steady rock next to the pop star, she was making a name for herself and having a successful career on her own. Jennifer Lopez, a famous actress, picked her to be the face of an exclusive fashion line, which sped up her rise to fame. She got a lot of professional experience from this huge chance, which threw her into the world of high fashion and taught her a lot. Even though that clothing line eventually shut down, she always felt very grateful for that formative time. She later shared an old newspaper clipping of her early modeling days to publicly thank Jennifer for starting her career. To fully bring their lives together, she finally made the life-changing choice to leave her city of Harlem, New York. She packed up her things and moved across the country to Los Angeles with her boyfriend. There, they made a private haven for themselves and their beloved Rottweiler, Geronimo. This happiness at home was a safe haven from the chaos of fame around the world, and it gave the hero a chance to get back to normal between huge world tours. But as any artist knows, true love doesn't always go as planned. Their close relationship became the emotional fuel for some of the most vulnerable music of their time. Since a lot of the music is very romantic, it's not a wonder that the raw ups and downs of the relationship served as direct inspiration in the studio. It was later revealed that the singer-songwriter wrote his heartbreaking ballad about regret and lost love during a very rough and painful time when he thought he was about to lose her for good. Even though the pair made it through that storm and never really broke up, the song was written with the painful thought of saying goodbye for good. He said that the emotional weight of that time was so heavy that he still gets visibly overwhelmed when he performs it live, saying that remembering those times feels exactly like bleeding. The event left such a scar on him that he refused to talk about it again. They made it clear that the song was too personal to talk about. As the relationship became more stable, she continued to explore new artistic possibilities. She was able to successfully move into the world of TV acting. She got her first big part on a popular network show, where she played a friendly hotel worker named Sonia for several seasons. In a beautiful mix of their two careers, her famous partner made a guest appearance as a musician in the season finale of the show. She could be seen smiling proudly in the crowd during a wedding scene. She posted a picture of herself in front of her set trailer on social media to celebrate this huge job achievement. She was very thankful for the chance to do it. At the same time, she showed her business sense by starting her own limited edition clothing line. The creative collection had beautiful one-pieces and bikinis, and each design was named after a famous character from a classic show. Her fashion line showed off her forward-thinking style. But after a few years, the brand's social media stopped being updated, leaving fans to wonder if she had turned her attention back to acting and helping her partner's music career grow. Every time they tried something new or went to an event that was sold out, the question of marriage hung over them. They were never in a hurry to walk down the aisle, though. In an honest interview, when asked directly if a proposal was coming up, the singer strongly defended their unique relationship. He told her that she was already his best friend in rock, and he asked why they needed to change anything when they were happy with the way things were. For them to be happy, they didn't need a marriage license, or to walk the red carpets of Hollywood's elite events, which they mostly skipped. Short pause. I have something to tell you. A lot of people don't mind forgetting little things. They're scared of what little things could cause. If that fear is still there, researchers now have a very clear reason for why people's minds get worse with age, and it's not what most people think it is. You can go to Brain Research Report.com or click on the link below. Read it now. When you realize this, you can really change what you do about it. Let's watch the video again. The only notable event in their low-key existence was the Grammy Awards, where she joined him 3 times to enjoy his historic musical achievements. She walked happily by his side at many events, but the most memorable night was when he won all 6 awards and made history. As the singer accepted the prestigious award for Record of the Year, he looked straight at his longtime partner and gave her a very moving public tribute. He called her his lady, told her he loved her, and thanked her for being his rock throughout the whole creative process. There was a beautiful sign of a long journey built on fierce loyalty, shared dreams, and a love that stood the test of fame. You didn't know about the secret Ratita Glow and Bruno Mars love story. Before his world-conquering stadium tours and diamond-certified records, Bruno Mars was navigating the rough waters of early fame with some very talented women. From 2009 to 2011, the rising star was heavily linked to dancer and music video model Chanel Malvar. When they met for the first time, they were a creative match made in heaven. They often put on shows together that electrified crowds and showed how well they got along. After 2 years of intense history, the couple decided to go their separate ways, which made her change her whole plan. She quit backup dancing to go after a career by herself, and she eventually made a very successful name for herself as a TV actress. Luckily, the end of their relationship didn't mean the end of their relationship with each other. They were able to turn their relationship into a strong friendship that will last. But people in Hollywood have always said that the timing of that breakup may have been greatly affected by the rise of another star. Around the same time, Bruno was seeing a young singer named Rita Ora behind her back. They met for the first time at one of his early concerts in London, and even though they were a lot of years apart in age, they hit it off right away. She was only 18 years old and new to the music business, even though the future #1 was already 24 years old. Even though there were sparks right away, the relationship had a lot of problems from the start, which ended in a permanent breakup. Later, she said that the age difference made it very hard to be in a serious relationship, and he agreed that the terrible distance between their homes made their relationship tough all the time. Even though it hurt to say goodbye, the two artists were able to keep their very close friendship and are still great friends. She has been very open about her time with the superstar, often saying how grateful she is for the times they spent together in those early years. She gives him a lot of credit for helping her with her music business and supporting her early creative ideas. In addition, her respect for his art has never faded, and she openly calls him a brilliant musician and a truly gifted songwriter who continues to be a huge source of inspiration for her. Bruno Mars's hidden past. From being a little Elvis to becoming a worldwide star, Bruno Mars used to be a little boy called Peter Jean Hernandez who was just trying to find his way in the world. He later broke world records and won a lot of Grammys. Born in Honolulu, Hawaii, he came into the world with a unique mix of cultures. His father was from Brooklyn and was Puerto Rican and Ashkenazi Jewish, and his mother was from the Philippines and had Filipino and Spanish blood. His parents met while acting in the same show. His mother was a talented hula dancer, and his father kept the beat as a percussionist. It seemed almost inevitable that he would have an artistic soul. His father gave him the famous nickname Bruno when he was 2 years old because the chunky little boy looked a lot like the famous professional wrestler, Bruno Sammartino. This name would come to define his career. As one of 6 kids, he grew up in a home that was full of fun. He heard a lot of different kinds of music like rock and roll, reggae, hip-hop, and rhythm and blues. His mother's beautiful singing and his father's enthusiastic performances of old rock songs taught him every day. But Bruno's uncle really sped things up when he encouraged the 3-year-old Bruno to start imitating famous musicians like Elvis Presley and Michael Jackson. He started playing music professionally when he was 4 years old. 5 nights a week, he played with his family's lively band, the Love Notes, at big island venues like the Sharon Wiki. He became famous all over Hawaii for having an amazing stage presence as Little Elvis. He was a big star as a child, but there were some funny times when things went wrong. For example, when he was 5, he wet himself during a passionate performance of a classic ballad. His parents were worried for a moment that they might be pushing him too hard. But the determined little artist never gave up. Hollywood quickly noticed how charismatic he was, and he got a cameo role as a small Elvis in the hit movie Honeymoon in Vegas. He also made an appearance on TV's The Arsenio Hall Show when he was only 6 years old. He had 2 shows every night when he was in elementary school, singing old songs and teaching himself how to play the drums, guitar, piano, and other rhythm instruments. But when he turned 12, the bright childhood dream came crashing to an end. It was a hard year for him because his parents suddenly got divorced, the family band broke up, and all of his dad's business ventures failed horribly. The young performer suddenly fell into extreme poverty and had to move into the slums of Hawaii. He, his brother, and his father had to live in a car on cold roofs and even in the empty buildings of a bird zoo where his father used to work. After that, the school changed, which caused a wave of very bad bullying. But in the end, his natural charm and undeniable talent won over his peers and made him very famous all over again. During high school, his early days of changing into musical icons had a big impact on how his art style changed, especially after he became deeply moved by rock legend Jimi Hendrix and took up the guitar with all his might. He joined a talented group called the Schoolboys and opened for his dad's brand new band. He made $75 a show by doing flawless Michael Jackson moves for people in the area. His big break into the mainland music scene finally came when his loving sister played a simple demo tape for a high-level record executive. The executive was so impressed by the teenager's raw talent that he called him right away and told him to come to Los Angeles. The young artist dropped out of high school and packed his bags to follow his dreams on the West Coast. Even though he was shocked at first by how dirty and poor his new neighborhood was, he realized that his given name didn't have the Hollywood sparkle he was looking for. He made his stage name official by combining his childhood nickname with the word Mars. He would joke with women that he must be from another planet since they always called him out of this world. More importantly, the smart name change was a business move meant to keep strict record execs from seeing him as just another Latin artist and making him sing only in Spanish. For a young man who had spent his whole life making a steady living from live shows back home, moving to California was a harsh reality check. The singer suddenly had to face the scary truth that his phone lines had been cut off and he was having a hard time paying his rent. He had to quickly lie that he knew how to DJ in order to get cash from under the table. Despite getting a highly sought-after contract with Motown Records, the big deal didn't work out, and he was dropped by the huge label in less than a year with nothing to show for it. Instead of going back to Hawaii feeling like a failure, he used the painful rejection as fuel and became a powerhouse behind the scenes by getting a publishing deal and learning the exact science of writing huge pop hits with the help of a great team of producers and his close collaborator Philip Lawrence. He studied the back catalogs of famous songs for 5 years straight, got better at what he did, and played in a neighborhood cover band just to make ends meet. After years of hard work, getting turned down by many labels, and creating his own style, Atlantic Records finally noticed how brilliant he was. This set the stage for a global takeover that would forever change the landscape of modern pop music. Bruno Mars's $20,000 song that saved his career. A single phone call changed everything for the struggling artist just as money problems were getting worse, and the dream seemed impossible to reach. A big name in the business, Brandon Creed, contacted the duo in the middle of 2008 to find new material for a long-awaited Menudo reunion project. He fell deeply in love with the emotional song Lost, which the singer had written for his own solo career. He quickly paid a cool $20,000 for the song. When that important amount of money came in, it immediately gave their bank accounts new life. This gave the creative team the freedom to keep working and push them toward a clear job change, writing and producing big hits for other mainstream artists. Brandon Creed saw how smart that first deal was and offered to become the singer's personal manager. This started a highly successful professional relationship that would last for almost a decade. The talented performer worked as a studio mastermind for years before he became a global megastar with a staged presence. He carefully crafted hits for big names like Alexandra Burke, Adam Levine, Brandy, Sean Kingston, and Kananan. He always talks about Florida's smash hit Right Round in 2009 as the big turning point when he and his team got their first taste of what could happen when they had full control over a huge pop hit. After that, he couldn't stop being creative. He co-wrote songs with British girl group Suga Babes and sang background vocals on them, worked on tracks for the Far East movement and sang on a beautiful charity single with Travie McCoy. But people could only look away from his beautiful voice for a while. And when he was on the famous hooks of Bob O's Nothing on You and Travie McCoy's Billionaire, he made the final step from being an unknown studio writer to a famous solo artist around the world. The infectious songs went straight to the top 10 of many charts around the world, with the huge Bob collaboration taking the top spot on the prestigious US Billboard Hot 100 in no time. When the singer thought back to his early big hits, he said that those songs were purposely made to work with a rapper. He also said that if he had sung the whole song himself, it might have sounded too much like a nostalgic 90s R&B track instead of a new pop anthem. Taking advantage of the huge amount of attention, he finally released his first extended play in May 2010. It gave fans an exciting taste of his solo style and included a star-studded music video with CEO Green and Bob O. At the same time, he and his production team wrote the hugely successful Grammy-nominated anthem, You for CEO Green, showing that he could rule the charts even when he wasn't singing. Do Wops and Hooligans, his first full-length studio album, came out 5 months after his first EP hit the airwaves and changed the music world forever. The record was a huge hit all over the world, spawning a string of huge hit singles like Just the Way You Are, Grenade, and The Lazy Song. That song made the Hawaiian man an instant world star and earned him his first Grammy Award for Best Male Pop Vocal Performance. He didn't want to slow down, so 2 months after that huge success in December 2012, he dropped the hit song Locked Out of Heaven on an unusual jukebox to hint at an exciting new sound direction. The record, which got great reviews, had hit songs like Treasure and Deeply Emotional Ballad. The album, When I Was Your Man, won him the Grammy Award for Best Pop Vocal Record and cemented his status as a modern music legend. His golden touch achieved a whole new level of popularity around the world in 2014, when his vocals were used on the huge hit single Uptown Funk. The song was a masterpiece that they made together with British producer Mark Ronson. It was a beautiful mix of 1,980 seconds funk and classic R&B. It became a global phenomenon that ruled the airwaves and deservedly won the Grammy Award for Record of the Year. The singer kept up the vintage vibe with his third studio album, 24K Magic. He got a lot of ideas from R&B from the 990 Seconds, and his smash hit That's What I Like won him a perfect 3 Grammys, Album, Record, and Song of the Year. Always looking for new ways to improve his sound, he later joined forces with the incredibly talented Anderson .Paak to form the retro synth band Silk Sonic. They released a stunning collaborative album called Leave the Door Open, which became a huge hit and won them several major Grammys. Clearly, his huge popularity spans the entire world. He has recently worked on hit singles with Rosé of Blackpink, a South Korean pop star, and Lady Gaga, an American superstar. His beautiful duet with Gaga, Die With a Smile, won the Grammy for Best Pop Duo Performance. Now in the year 2026, the visionary icon has just put out his long-awaited 4th studio record, which is called The Romantic. The album was co-produced by his great old friend Dalo, and it leans heavily on beautiful 970 seconds Philly soul and lively Latin rock. The first song, I Just Might, is very catchy. Right away reaching number 1, this shows that Bruno Mars is still the most powerful artist in music history. Bruno Mars' life was almost over before it even started when he was arrested in 2010. The pop star had a dangerous, not-so-glamorous moment in Las Vegas before the silk shirts, flashing stage lights, and historic Grammy speeches. It could have changed the course of his career and ended his relationship before it even started. A night in Sin City almost killed his career and the life he was trying to build at a time when his signature voice was just starting to take over radio stations around the world. Many of his fans never knew how close he was to losing everything. Even the woman who would be his rock during the most difficult years of his life. In the autumn of 2010, the singer was arrested in a Hard Rock hotel and casino bathroom. This happened around the same time that his first album was making waves around the world. Police found him with a little more than 2.5 grams of cocaine, which was a shocking discovery that could have ended his rise to fame and torn his personal life apart. He could have fought the case in a public trial, but instead he chose a smart plea deal in which he admitted what he did and started right away in an intense drug education program. On top of that, he spent 200 hours doing a lot of public service work to help the community while paying a big fine. After 2 years, when he had done everything the law required, the case was finally over and didn't show up on his record. The famous drug arrest was a big change from the clean-cut love song image that millions of fans had fallen in love with. Behind closed doors, though, it was the biggest wake-up call for his relationship. When the singer thought back on that scary time, he saw it as a harsh divine warning that one bad choice could take away all the love and success he had worked so hard for over the years. Laughs. It was a lesson that made him realize that everything he had worked for his whole life and the future of his relationship could be lost in an instant. Being so embarrassed put him in a very strange mental state, but in the end, it made him respect the people who were always there for him when things looked particularly bad. He says that particular hardship saved his relationship because it made him rethink his way of life and fully commit to building a stable private life away from the crazy temptations of Hollywood. He knew he had a woman at home who thought he was brilliant, and the thought of embarrassing her in public even more or losing her love made him quit the wild party scene for good. This newfound maturity made their bond stronger than it ever had been before. What could have been a disaster became the strong base they needed to handle the intense pressures of being famous around the world. The scandal didn't drive them apart. Instead, it brought them closer together by showing them how to hide their love from other people and focus only on their future together. Since that major turning point, the performer's life has been free of any major scandals. Instead, he or she has been focused on artistic growth and rewriting the history of music. He took all of that focused, grounded energy and put it right back into the studio, where he made a series of huge global hits that took over the radio. He backed up his first hit with 2 huge albums that won him a lot of awards and let him work with big names in the business like Mark Ronson, Cardi B, and Anderson .Paak. That amazing collaboration with Paak turned into the full-on retro funk project known as Silk Sonic, which hooked people all over again and showed that no one else could beat his talent. By choosing growth over destruction, he not only saved his important musical heritage, but he also kept the private relationship that was his safest place through it all. When we look back, the end of Bruno Mars and Jessica Caban's decade-long relationship. After 13 years of keeping their private lives very secret, the love story that everyone in the pop world has been talking about has finally reached a breaking point, and Bruno Mars is finally breaking his silence about the breakup. There was a lot of talk about Bruno Mars and Jessica Caban's relationship when shocking stories said they spent the whole holiday season apart. Fans quickly spread rumors on the internet when they saw that Jessica Caban had deleted all of her previous milestone anniversary photos from her social media page. This suggested that there was major trouble going on behind the scenes. The tabloids never got a formal joint statement, but Jessica Caban gave away a huge hint that their 13-year relationship was over by responding to comments online and softly saying that she would always be happy for Bruno Mars's continued success while cheering from afar. And even though the breakup was painful, Bruno Mars has shown Jessica Caban respect by continuing to like her posts. This shows that their deep love for each other has not completely gone away. Bruno Mars finally answered the long-standing question of why he and Jessica Caban never got married. He looked back on his past with a mix of nostalgia and bittersweet reality, remembering how he used to laugh off the huge amount of pressure from the public to get married. Bruno Mars had always seen Jessica Caban as his best friend and biggest supporter, and Bruno Mars really thought they were happy living their lives on their own terms without a marriage license to prove it. Bruno Mars used to joke that his easygoing attitude toward marriage might get him into trouble if Jessica Caban read his interviews. But as time went on, it became clear that they had much different long-term goals. Even though they don't go out in public very often, Bruno Mars and Jessica Caban's relationship was beautifully shown at 3 glittering Grammy Award ceremonies. On the last night, Bruno Mars won 6 major awards and looked directly into the crowd to publicly thank Jessica Caban for being by his side through the hard creative process. Bruno Mars finally spoke out about the truth about his relationship with Jessica Caban and said that they never had any children together in all 13 years of being together. Even though they raised their beloved Rottweiler named Geronimo with a lot of love in their beautiful multi-million-dollar mansion. Bruno Mars also talked about how their close relationship fueled the most vulnerable art he made, especially his heartbreaking ballads about regret and sadness. Bruno Mars admitted that he wrote that song during a very unstable and unsteady time when he thought he might lose Jessica Caban for good. This made the lyrics almost too painful for Bruno Mars to talk about in public. Luckily, Bruno Mars and Jessica Caban avoided a permanent breakup during that storm and had a short-lived happy ending. However, Bruno Mars said that performing the song live is like bleeding because he has to pour out all of his feelings and bring up all of those heavy emotions all over again. Bruno Mars thought about how his global music career and the long distances of his huge stadium tours finally caused a painful change in their relationship, which affected how he and Jessica Caban held on to each other. As an inside joke, Bruno Mars talked about how buying flowers and holding hands quickly turned to trying to keep a relationship alive through computer screens and social media texts while he was traveling around the world. In the end, whether this final chapter is the end of all things between Bruno Mars and Jessica Caban, or whether it leaves a small opening for them to get back together in the future, millions of fans around the world will always remember their legendary 13-year trip. Do you think that Bruno Mars and Jessica Caban are no longer together? Let us know what you think in the space below. Do not forget to share, like, and give your email address. Also, click on the next video that comes up. It will be fun for you.